Miguel Concepcion, you reviewed it for GameSpot. Miguel, you do a lot of freelance work for us. You're working from the office a lot lately. You're working on another review for us right now, which can't completely Call of Duty. You can't give an opinion, but you're working on the review for us. You gave Battlefield 1 a 9 out of 10. You thought this game was superb, as a lot of us do. So let's talk about it. Broad strokes. Why is this game good?
Well, I found that both the single player and the multiplayer were both excellent. Any kind of misgivings I had or anything that I thought were blemishes was actually just coming down to the UI, especially in the multiplayer. Something like not being able to exit the multiplayer mode in between matches was really surprising.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
It was actually easier. You actually have to wait for the next match to start before you can actually get into the pause menu.
Oh, okay.
And it came to the point where it was probably easier for me to just exit out of the game and then relaunch it in order to get back into the main menu.
Yeah, that's ugly.
Dan, it's just those kind of quality of life things they could hopefully improve down the road, patch stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the World War I setting? Do you think it kind of lends itself well to this kind of game?
Yeah, I thought it was almost long overdue. It was always, whenever you see a feature about where should this shooter franchise go, World War I is always thrown as sort of a novelty suggestion or an afterthought. And EA and DICE thought they can just jump straight into and make it this full-on AAA production. And I just thought they did a great job on it, to the point that you could really see where it can go with a possible sequel or DLCs. Obviously, when you have this 4-year-long conflict, there's so many battles that you can cover, especially when even the campaign covers mostly wars from the last 2 years. I mean, battles from the last 2 years of the war. There were obviously many other conflicts in the initial stages, especially with this sort of the seesaw of the Germans and the French on the Western Front that pretty much took up the first 6 months.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the progression, because Rob, you and I, you had how many battle packs saved up for the stream we did today? 6 when we opened it up. Yeah, so the battle packs are kind of what Overwatch does with loot crates, Call of Duty's doing with its supply drops, I think they're called. A lot of games do that now. It's that randomized items. I think Mass Effect 3, I remember, was the first one I remember on consoles, kind of introducing that random loot box. Weird segue for that, but I'm kind of interested in how the progression feels for this. Are you unlocking new these World War I weapons pretty often, these new skins, or how does the progression feel overall? Because Call of Duty, that's the big draw for me, is the progression.
Well, it's multi-layered, not surprisingly. The currency that you earn to buy new weapons is these war bonds that you get not through completing matches, but through leveling up. So I want to make that distinction. Okay. There's also these medals that sort of work like challenges. I mean, in the classic sense of challenges, except in order for it incentivizes you to come back weekly, because these challenges are essentially temporary. And you also have to make sure that you equip these medals, so you actually get you can actually I guess, for lack of a better word, grow these medals. Yeah. I really appreciate how you can just mold your arsenal based on what you prefer, because it just has such a wide spectrum of old school weapons, and it will take even the most hardcore player weeks to possibly get the full collection.
So I remember I was playing as a support class earlier, and I know since the betas, in the alpha, they introduced the mortar. I don't believe that was there before release, so I've been using that a lot now. So, yeah. And I swap out the other possible items there for the mortar all the time, because I really like that. It kind of makes the support class kind of literally just more support. You're kind of bombarding these areas, trying to clear out these strongholds. And I was telling Rob earlier on the episode that I like Battlefield because there's those moments where you have to be kind of patient to be good at Battlefield, right? It's about placement it's literally about placement on the battlefield. And it's kind of about putting yourself in the right situation to help, whether you're killing somebody or not, or you're just laying down suppressing fire, or you're kind of going this flanking mission around to just get this stronghold no one's paying attention to. Does this feel like a kind of return to form for the Battlefield series in a lot of ways? Because I know I think 4, there was a lot of server issues when was it 4 launched, and obviously Hardline was kind of Scott was saying earlier, it's still that a lot of it was more close quarters stuff, kind of trying to combat these other modern military shooters. But does Battlefield 1 seem like kind of a return to tradition for the Battlefield franchise?
I'd say so, especially when, as a contrast, the the amount of work and imagination they put into the maps. It just seems like actual maps actual locations you could actually visit in real life. And I say contrast because so many of the maps from Hardline seemed like so symmetrical by comparison. Obviously, to be good at any kind of like map in any multiplayer shooter, it just really comes down to just memorizing the layout. Because I think one of my favorite maps is this one in this French farm that shares like a couple towns, and half of the buildings are in ruins. And you're going to have your share of camping spots and just areas where you can snipe well. In all, I really appreciate the maps because it also lent to me playing outside my comfort zone, trying out classes I usually don't play with.
Right.
I thought it was really like sniper friendly, and at least before the wide release, my at-home cable connection with a wireless router, I was able to pull off sniper kills without any kind of lag or any issues, and I was very pleased with that.
Yeah, because then there's like that analog feel of these weapons. They're older weapons. There's that you have to lead targets. There's bullet drop, like especially like on sniper rifles when you're shooting at long distances. But
just like reloading.
Oh yeah,
you have to reload. Like not even just the clip,
but
let
like
go of the zoom
bolt.
Button. Yeah, I mean for artillery things, pieces too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. There's definitely more. It's Battlefield, so there's more weight to the weapons here than Call of Duty. It feels like you're just like pointing this toy gun at people, but there's more weight to them. It's a little bit harder. Like a lot of times, I'll see a guy across a field, and I'll be using the trench submachine gun, and I'll be like, I can't make this shot. By the time I hit him once and do like 10 damage to him, he's gonna have killed me with whatever he's using. And I actually pick my shots more consistently. I'm like paying more attention to the situation than I would in like a lot of other like twitchy kind of shooters, but. There's also the thing that you said that these don't feel like arenas to me. These feel like real places that people just happen to be like playing a game on. I don't know. And it does feel a lot more like there are these kind of, there's this like natural feel to them. Like organic, I guess would be the term.
I mean, when you play something like Conquest, sometimes you think this side is naturally the other team's side, but that never really happens because it keeps evolving. Like a team that can dominate one side of the map, by the end of the match, they end up dominating the other side. And you guys like organically just switch areas. One thing I always love about these Battlefield maps is because it really caters to teamwork. I mean, obviously you could be like a lone wolf for a little bit, but you probably won't be that much you won't really contribute much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, definitely. And it's kind of like some of the maps play out as like these individual skirmishes that are playing out different capture points or like houses or farms, like you said. Others kind of like Sinai Desert, I always found that it was kind of like these outlying battles that are playing into the central one in the town. It's kind of like cool. And then there's the one along the coast. I forget the name of it with the dreadnought and the castle. And that's the one where it's
FAO Fortress.
FAO Fortress, yes. And that's the one where it's kind of, like until the dreadnought comes in, everybody's kind of attacking the castle, and the castle's that stronghold that it's kind of tough to take. But then there's the one up on the hill you can take. I don't know. It's just kind of thinking back on the stories that come out of these matches. Like, I couldn't take that castle, but then all of a sudden I came in the dreadnought, I started bombarding it, killed everybody. People came in the back and took it. Then I capsized in the ship, this really happened to me. I got smoked.
No, yeah. I mean, it's kind of nice to. Because it was a little worrisome when, they introduced the behemoth blimp. Oh my God, this thing's just going to wreck shop. However, the balancing of it seems to be pretty safe. If it is a landslide match and it's 20 minutes long and you're just, having not these behemoths, you kind of know halfway through that your team's going to lose.
Sure.
But now it's like, okay, even if we are winning, we have to worry about a tank, and that is your automatic sense of drive for teamwork. Is like we have to take out that train. We have to take out the train or whatever behemoth it is in order to ensure that we will win. And the matches have been so tight. Like I won one as a train artillery conductor. Like we won by 3 tickets. It was exhilarating.
Which essentially is 3 seconds for those who haven't played the
game.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's cool when the behemoths come in, how they switch your role. Like if you're in a plane before the behemoth, before an airship comes in, you're doing strafing runs, you're bombing tanks, you're dogfighting with other planes, you're maybe strafing runs or bombing a capture point to help your foot soldiers get in there. The airship comes along, and it's pretty much like you're one of the first lines of defense to take out the gondolas underneath it that have all the machine guns and dropping bombs and whatnot. And that's one thing I like, how these matches can, like you said, the scenario switches so fast. Like you could be a scout and you're aiming across this field, trying to take out people that are trying to cross it to get to the capture point. You go into this house next door, it just becomes close quarters battles, and you are having a tough time with just your sidearm against shotguns. I do want to talk quickly about the campaign, because that was like one thing that nobody really played before. Like, you came out, there's no beta or alpha from what I understand, but what did you think of the campaign, like as far as, again, making use of the World War I setting, or just overall quality? Like, how fun was it?
Well, it's presented in this anthology format where it almost comes off where it seems like there are all these, each segment could have been written by a different writer.
Right.
Each one has their own tone. Each main character kind of has their own personality and motivations. Overall, it just really, it was thoughtful and heartfelt. And it really is a contrast with the previous Battlefield campaigns where, by comparison, it actually really accentuates how the prior campaigns, especially with Battlefield 3 and 4, how those were just like these persistent powder kegs where each chapter felt like it had something to prove, and it always felt some obligation to keep like your pulse up. This one, it's, there's like this ebb and flow with, like say with like this tank mission, the camaraderie with that you quickly gain from meeting all these strangers in this tank. There's this really heartfelt one in where this veteran, it looks like he's like 7 years old, and it's like the 1950s, and he's reflecting on his time when he was protecting his twin brother in this mission in the Alps.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited to play it because for all intents and purposes, it seems like it's making use of the World War I setting more than maybe the multiplayer in some respects as far as the storytelling goes. And that is the appeal to me because of the heart that appears to be there.
I mean, I will also say that I love that many of the settings aren't just reusing assets from the multiplayer map. I mean, some games can get away with that, but I really thought that the art team really did a great job in just really mixing things up. And there was one particular map that actually looked like some 19th century painting with just these really, really yellow and orange like afternoons. I don't want to spoil the setting because sometimes just even seeing these levels for the first time is a pleasant surprise.
Sure. Yeah. Well, anyway, that is Battlefield 1. Miguel Concepcion, thanks so much for coming on to talk about it.
Problem.
You gave it a 9 out of 10. Your review is up, video review as well as written on GameSpot. I think it's still promo at the top of the page, so you can go read that right now if you're interested in Battlefield 1 and checking it out. But let us know what you think about the game in the comments below once you get to play it.